You've seen it on TV, the deafening roar, the blur of cars, and the drama that unfolds at breakneck speeds. Even from the comfort of your living room, you've felt the pressure and tension build, especially during those heart-stopping overtakes. Despite being miles away, the thrill still reaches you. But have you ever wondered what it's like to be in the thick of it? Standing trackside, watching the best drivers in the world battle it out right in front of you. Let me tell you, it's a whole new experience. One that watching from your TV can never quite capture. Here's what it feels like to attend an F1 race. One of the most fascinating things about attending a Grand Prix weekend is how every race feels completely unique, like each event has its own personality shaped by the local culture. And the truth is that no two races are ever the same. For example, if you're in Italy for Monza, you'll feel the passion radiating from the Tifosi. It's not just a race for them, it's a way of life. You'll hear chants echoing through the grandstands long before the cars even hit the track. The smell of fresh pizza or pasta wafts through the air. And if you're lucky enough to find yourself in the fan zone, you might just stumble upon a pop-up espresso bar. Everything feels distinctly Italian, the energy, the food, the people. Then there's the Singapore Grand Prix, where racing happens at night. It's a whole different vibe. The city skyline twinkles around you as the cars tear through the Marina Bay circuit, and the air feels thick with tropical heat. It's a sensory overload, with street food stands serving up local delicacies, neon lights glowing, and live music adding to the festival-like atmosphere. You're not just at a race, you're immersed in the pulse of the city itself. But with all this variety, one thing remains constant: the unpredictability of the weather. And believe me, it can make or break your experience. For instance, you could be at Silverstone, the home of British Motorsport, where the morning starts crisp and clear. Then, within an hour, those famous dark clouds roll in. Suddenly, you find yourself scrambling to throw on a poncho, and just like that, the whole race feels different. On the flip side, there's the scorching heat of a place like Bahrain. You arrive at the track with the sun already blazing overhead, and every step feels like walking across a desert. Staying hydrated becomes a sport in itself. But hey, the atmosphere, it's electric. The intense heat just adds to the pressure on the drivers and makes every overtake, every tyre degradation much more dramatic. However, aside from the culture, atmosphere, and unpredictability of the weather, everything else remains consistent across the tracks. The F1 experience itself. The excitement actually starts well before you reach the track. It's like there's this invisible magnet drawing F1 fans together, whether you're at the airport, on a train, or driving to the circuit. You start noticing more and more people in team gear. A Mercedes cap here, a McLaren shirt there, Ferrari flags proudly displayed in car windows. The closer you get to the circuit, the more the energy builds. Outside the circuit, you often see people moving around, all dressed in their team colors. There is the fan zone, where there's this carnival-like atmosphere. You will get to see exhibits showcasing the latest F1 tech. It isn't strange to see fans snapping photos, and the merchandise stalls are buzzing with people grabbing hats, shirts, and flags. The first day of a Grand Prix weekend, typically a Friday, feels like stepping into a different world. The first thing that hits you is the smell. Gasoline mixed with the enticing aroma of food from vendors setting up. It's an odd but delightful mix that feels just right. Friday begins with Free Practice 1. Free practice sessions might seem less exciting on TV, but in person, they're fascinating. You get to see teams experimenting with different setups, drivers finding their limits, and rookie mistakes that the cameras might miss. The sound, oh the sound. No TV speaker system can prepare you for that first moment when an F1 car screams past at full throttle. It's not just noise, it's a physical sensation that reverberates through your entire body. The Friday crowd has a different vibe, more relaxed, more technical. You'll find yourself next to fans discussing aerodynamic updates and comparing notes about which turns offer the best viewing spots. It's also the perfect day to explore the circuit and check out the merchandise stands before they get too crowded. If you're lucky, you could catch a glimpse of a driver, maybe walking between the paddock and the garage, casually chatting with their team or signing autographs for fans. It's a behind-the-scenes look at F1 that you wouldn't normally get. The next day, which is Saturday, is when things really start to heat up. You can feel the difference the moment you walk through the gates. There's this charged energy in the air that wasn't there on Friday. It's like the whole place is buzzing and you know exactly why. Today is qualifying day and everyone knows this is where the stakes get real. No more casual practice laps. Today is all about who will stand in pole position tomorrow. It's serious business. It's no longer just about the spectacle. Today's all about performance. Who's going to crush it? Who's going to falter? You can feel the tension creeping in, and it's thrilling. If you're lucky enough to snag a pit walk tour, the experience is something else. You get this rare glimpse behind the curtain, teams working frantically on the cars, mechanics fine-tuning every detail to squeeze out the last bit of performance. You might see them change a front wing or tinker with suspension setups, all while keeping a close eye on the screens tracking lap times and data. It's mesmerizing watching these professionals at work, knowing every second counts. And then there's that one moment everyone hopes for, a driver sighting. If you're in the right place at the right time, you might catch a glimpse of your favorite driver, maybe even give a wave or snap a photo as they head toward their garage or do a quick media appearance. It's a surreal experience seeing these racing gods up close. As the final qualifying times are locked in and you see who's snagged the pole, there's this surge of excitement and a little bit of relief. When leaving the track, you will hear people talking, dissecting every lap and every strategy. Who's going to pit early tomorrow? Will the pole sitter hold their lead? Or will someone pull off a surprise win? The conversations go on and on. Tyre choices, mistakes made, and the brilliance of some laps. You find yourself getting pulled into these debates, talking with fellow fans like you've known them for years, even though you just met. The buzz doesn't die down as you head back to your hotel or campsite. If anything, it grows. Saturday night is filled with anticipation, and you can hardly wait for race day. Sunday morning at a Grand Prix has an almost religious quality to it. You wake up early, partly from excitement and partly from necessity. The traffic and crowds will be at their peak. The atmosphere around the circuit is electric hours before the race even begins. Unlike Fridays and Saturdays, the queues to enter the race venue, along with the exits and popular viewing spots for those with walkabout tickets, tend to be longer than usual on race day. Navigating through the crowds requires patience and vigilance, so you might have to stick close to your companions to avoid getting separated. Once you make your way into the circuit, you'll notice the grandstands fill up quickly as people rush to claim their spots. The pre-race atmosphere is larger than life. The driver parade kicks things off with each driver waving to the fans as they cruise around the track. You cheer for your favorites and might even throw a playful boo at a rival or two. But it's all in good fun. The excitement builds with every lap of the parade. Then, the national anthem plays, and you stand with the crowd, watching as the flag is raised and the roar of the flyover sends chills down your spine. However, nothing compares to those moments just before the start, when the grid clears, the formation lap begins, and 20 of the world's best drivers line up for those 5 red lights. The start of a Grand Prix is perhaps the most intense sporting moment you'll ever witness. The sound of 20 F1 cars launching off the line is otherworldly, a wall of sound that hits you in the chest. Throughout the race, you develop a different understanding of the sport. TV coverage follows the main battles, but being trackside lets you see the whole story. You might notice a midfielder's consistent lap times, watch pit stop strategies unfold in real time, or spot battles that never make it to the broadcast. The smell of rubber, the heat of the engines, the rush of air as cars pass. It's an assault on all your senses. As the race unfolds, it's an emotional roller coaster. 1 minute, your heart is in your throat as two cars go wheel to wheel down a straight, and the next, you're on the edge of your seat, watching a dramatic overtake. You cheer, you groan, you gasp. It's a constant rush of adrenaline. When a driver you're rooting for pulls off a brilliant move, the joy is indescribable. But when your favorite retires with a mechanical issue or crashes out, the heartbreak is just as intense. Whether it's a battle for the lead or a fight for points, every position counts. When your favorite driver is in front, you find yourself counting down the laps, silently urging them to hold on. When the checkered flag finally waves, the crowd erupts in cheers and applause, a wave of emotion flooding over you. If a fan favorite wins, it's pure joy. The podium celebration caps off the day perfectly. Watching the winning drivers spray champagne and confetti is a thrilling sight. If your driver is up there, it's a moment of joy. But even if they're not, the energy in the crowd is infectious. Fans embrace and high-five, soaking in the moment. It's an experience that lingers long after the race. As you head out, a thought strikes you. You're already considering going to the next race. That desire to relive the excitement comes rushing back. A Grand Prix weekend is truly addictive. The sights, the sounds, and the thrill pull you in. And before you've even left, you're planning your return. So, how much does it cost to have this once-in-a-lifetime experience? Attending a Formula One race is an unforgettable experience, but it comes with a price tag that varies based on several factors. Let's break it down. First, let's talk about tickets. General admission tickets typically start around $100 to $300 for less popular races. However, if you want a grandstand seat, especially one with a great view of the start-finish line or a famous corner, you could be looking at prices from $300 to over $1,500. For the most sought-after events like the Monaco Grand Prix, premium seats can easily exceed $3,000. Traveling to the race adds another layer to the cost. If you're flying internationally, ticket prices can vary significantly based on distance and timing. A round-trip flight to a European race from the US can easily range from $600 to $1,200. Once you arrive, accommodation prices can fluctuate widely. Hotels near the circuit often charge more during race weekends, so expect to pay around $150 to $400 per night for a decent place, with luxury options climbing well above $600. Food and beverages at the venue can also add up quickly. A meal at the track might cost between $10 and $30, while a beer could set you back $8 to $15. It's wise to budget around $50 to $100 per day for food and drinks, especially if you plan to enjoy a meal or two outside the circuit. And if you're a fan of merchandise, be prepared to splurge a bit. Team hats, shirts, and memorabilia can range from $20 to $150 each, so setting aside around $50 to $100 for souvenirs is a good idea. Transportation to and from the circuit should also be factored in. Taxis or rideshares can cost between $20 and $50 each way. If you're attending practice sessions or qualifying, those tickets may add an extra $50 to $200 each to your overall cost. All in all, attending an F1 race can set you back anywhere from $1,500 to over $5,000 per person for a full weekend, depending on your choices. And there you have it, what it's really like to attend a Formula One race. Now, we want to hear from you. What was your experience at your first F1 race? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our amazing content.